Okay, Rabotai, Baruch Hashem, we are on for another class of Halachot Shabbat, page 344. 47? 348. Almost got it. So, says Rav Yosef, Bo, is it allowed to place cold soup on a plate that is turned off right now, but will turn on later? So we said that on Shabbat, a person is not allowed to reheat soup. But reheating soup is a problem only whenever a person is reheating the soup when the plata is hot. But when the plata is off, he's allowed to put the soup, even though it's very cold, and it's going to turn on soon. That's called grama. Anytime you're doing an action now, but it's going to take effect a second later or more, it's called grama. And Gemara tells us grama, patu. Asiyah de asur grama, shari. Shari in Aramaic really means allowed. Now, is it allowed midoraita and it's asur midrabanan, or it's 100% allowed? Midoraita and midrabanan. That's the debate we have between Sfaradim and Ashkenazim, how to explain the following case. Gemara says that if a person, lo alenu lo alechem, has a fire in the house or somewhere else, doesn't matter where, and he wants to turn it off. So in Queens, in Brooklyn, that is inhabited places, a lot of people live around next to each other. Chas v'shalom, if there's a fire in one house, it's not only a risk of damage of property, it's also a risk of damage of life, because the houses are very connected and chas v'shalom can spread very quick, and life of people are at risk. So definitely you have to turn it off directly, immediately, with your hands, whatever you need to be done. ASAP on Shabbat, no problem. Must do it. If a person says, no, I want to be machmir, this halacha says it's called hamor, lo mahmir. Why? Because he is risking other people. Risking. Could be nothing will happen, but you're risking other people's lives, and people can get killed from the fire, from the smoke, from all these damages, lo alenu. So therefore, Gemara speak about a different case. Yaakov John, a person has a fire and he wants to turn it off by putting buckets around. Can you put buckets around the fire or no?
To stop like the spread?
Huh?
To stop the spread?
To stop the spread. Is he allowed to put buckets around and cause the buckets to burst and turn off the fire?
You're not turning off.
He's not turning it off directly. He put the bucket now. The bucket will heat up by the fire and burst and turn off the fire. Is he allowed to do that or no? Meir, what do you say? Gemara says no problem. That's the case, the original case of Gama. Question is, do we learn from this case to other cases of Gama, or only that case because you have financial loss, makom efsed, then we're allowed to do Gama. But if there is no financial loss, over here the house is going to go on fire, so the guy has financial loss, efsed, that's how we allow it. But if there is no financial loss, why should we allowing it to you? That's the debate between Ashkenazim and Sfaradim. Ashkenazim say Grama is allowed, like the Gemara case was. What was the Gemara case, Meir, Yaakov? Financial loss. For what you did those buckets?
Financial loss.
For financial loss, right? But if you don't have financial loss, eating soup on Shabbat is financial loss. No, eat it on Sunday. You don't have to eat it right now. You have a refrigerator. Ashkenazim will not allow it to make things based on Grama. Ashkenazim. However,
Ashkenazim can take the soup and put it straight on the
but not when it's cold. Ashkenazim says whenever it is a little bit warmth. A little bit warmth. It doesn't have to be scalding hot. You're right. But not cold. Cold from the fridge, Ashkenazim will not allow it. So we, says Rav Yosef, allowed. Why? Because when you put it on the plata was turned off. Now it's off. Soon it's going to turn on. What is that? Grama. Right? So we have a rule. Asiyah de asur. Grama. Shari means allowed. In Aramaic means allowed. So that's why Grama Sfaradim are more lenient regarding Grama. And we allow it to put the soup right now. Even though lechatchila. Even though you know that plata is going to turn. You know. You don't have a doubt. Oh, I didn't know it happened to be. You know. You intending for this to happen. Nevertheless, it is allowed. Grama.
From there, this for the reason you also allowed to have the bag of water before Shabbat inside the chamin.
Yeah, and what do you want to do with that? Before the Shabbat, you want to put bag of water inside chamin.
Water
No.
inside the chamin, because the chamin is gonna get
Burst, you
punch it.
and it's, puncture it, yeah?
Yeah.
Achon?
Same thing.
There is no grama there. Over there, the water is hot already.
Grama, no.
There's no grama. There is no in.
דקות, בסוף זה מתפוצץ לבד.
Oh yeah, okay. If there is a grama base, you're right. Yeah.
לפני שבת.
People do that, but it's not healthy. You're cooking plastic.
חצי מהדברים שאתה עושה לא הלטי.
Okay, that's plastic.
שום דבר לא הלטי. כמה אלומיניום פויל אתה אסור לך להשתמש בו. אתה יודע כמה...
Yeah, you're right. I open a can of worms. You're correct. Shako, this mine? Make him also check.
אתה לפני שבת לקחת שקית, יש שקיות מיוחדות.
Water, you want?
שמים אותם, את המים החמים בתוך.
אנחנו עושים כולם ברכה ביחד.
בתוך החמים.
באמת? כן, בגלל זה אני אומר.
בשביל שהחמים לא
טוב,
יהיו...
you see, he's waiting.
או שאתה עושה לזה...
David, you ready? David is always ready. חגה, אתה מוכן? ברשות מוריי ורבותיי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו.
אתה עושה את זה כי אסור להוסיף מים בשבת לחמים.
לא, לפני שבת בנושאים מים, בשביל מה לשים את השקית?
כי לפעמים יש כאלה מתייבש להם החמית.
אז אם אתה רוצה לקבל מים אז אתה מוציא את זה?
Look at poskim.
No, he's asking why would people put a bag of water inside the chamin. So Jesse explains to
How
him.
would you do that?
So he said that sometimes it happens that the plata becomes so hot. Sometimes, the kitchen has good ventilation,
מתי להוסיף? לפני שבת?
or breeze, I should say, and the chamin is good. But sometimes outside it was not windy. So it's not windy, the regular temperature setup that you put was too high. You wake up in the morning, you smell, chamin is burning. The osvo is burning.
So remove it. So remove it.
Huh?
But you're sleeping.
Either remove it or put it to the side.
Okay, that's one solution. But what if even if I put it on the side, it's not going to help? So there is a way. Solution is before Shabbat, you're putting the bag of water before Shabbat. If you know that this cases sometimes happens, not put it before Shabbat inside the oslo. On Shabbat morning, you have a problem. Puncture that bag, and the water is already cooked. You're not moving it from a different samovar to this pot. It's already in the pot.
Bag of water inside the pot.
Yeah.
Before
That's
Shabbat.
one solution before Shabbat.
You just puncture it or
To dilute the food?
The issue with the potato. When you open
cool it down.
The lid.
Ah,
Yeah.
what do you mean that
Punch the
water is
water.
hot already? You already diluted.
right?
Ah.
So
Diluting
you're
the
taking
food,
out
so the water goes inside the
and
food.
it's cooking
Yeah.
again.
Ah.
Dilute
Hold
the
on.
food from-
I'll explain to you.
Stop
He
it
has a good point. Let me explain to you.
not to burn.
Let me explain to you. Friday night, my wife opened the lid. Remember I told you? She wanted to give the potato to my child, to the baby. The likes potato. So she wants to take it out. Potato is hard.
It was raw.
How is it hard?
Raw,
It's
you mean.
already 3 hours on the fire, on the platter. It should have cooked.
You mean it's raw?
Happened to be that there was some problem over there. Karochi, after 3 hours, it was still raw. Now, can my wife? But the platter is hot.
Right.
Can my wife close the lid on Shabbat now?
No, we said no.
She's not turning on anything. She's not adjusting anything. She's not doing nothing. Just want to close the lid.
He said no. 'cause
The
it's
question is if the potato was cooked already machalab ben dorsai before,
No machal ben drosai, no. It's even if it will be machal ben drosai, which means partially cooked. Even it's partially cooked, you're still not allowed to close the lid because you're going to make it fully cooked.
But Rabbi, you
But
said
that's already started before. So
One
you're
at a time, one
You're
at a time.
continuing it. You're continuing. You're not doing anything different.
You're right, but continuing cooking on Shabbat by closing the lid, you're speeding up the speed. If it would be open lid, it will not cook as fast. Whenever you close the lid, you
You're only like 2 seconds.
even for 1 second. A person turn on a fire on Shabbat, 1 second. Well, that's it.
But
Not
you're
allowed
not
to.
speeding it. It's the same. It's
No,
the
so
same heat.
the reality, before you are saying something, find out the reality. Reality is whenever you close the lid, the heat remains over there and cooks the food faster. So now Chagai is asking, Rabbi, what type of solution is this? If you're going to open the lid, puncture the bag for the water to go, you cannot close the lid after. So the answer is only when you're not allowed to close the lid after.
When the food is not
When the food is not fully cooked. Over here, the food is overcooked. It's about to
How do you
burn.
know it's overcooked?
You smell.
Maybe meat is not overcooked. You're doing this by 8, 9 o'clock.
When the food is burning, it's for sure overcooked.
If this
זה
burning,
כל הסיבה שאנחנו שמים את המים. כי אתה רואה את זה כבר, זה
Got it?
נראה יותר מדי...
So you have a good point, Haggai. Whenever the food is still a little bit raw, you're right. But whenever the food is already level of that, a fire, at burning, it's 100% the meat, the potato, everything is overcooked already. In such a case, you will be allowed to puncture the bag and also close the lid.
And the water's cooked.
Huh?
The water's cooked.
נכון. And the water is cooked, no problem.
That's what I said.
Very good. Number 3. Should one be more stringent with extinguishing the fire because a person is hurried considering their property? Bahul al mamono. I don't know how you say it in English. Bahul is like, what's going to be with
Concerned.
my... Huh?
Concerned for
Person
his
is
property.
concerned. Concerned, not hurried. So wrong word, huh, in English. In Hebrew, they say bahul al mamono. Concerned.
Concerned for
The person is concerned about their property and might violate the Shabbat laws further to save his property. Okay?
מה עם קרפצ'ו, רבי?
לא מצאתי תשובה, I'm telling you. I באמת looked many hours into it. I couldn't find you any solution yet. Not everything is written in books. Some things you have to wait for to find, as you're going to learn another topic, you're going to read, I find this over. Many times it happens. You have to let go, and it just comes. Later on, it's like boom. Many times of my tshuvot, people ask me questions, and I didn't know the answers to them. I looked whatever I could, didn't find an answer. So the books didn't write on it. Not everything they wrote about. Карпаччо. Кто раньше карпаччо кушал? There was no such a food back in the day.
Значит, мясо гой должен на шашлык, должен ты поставить, потом гой должен доделать. Правильно? Потому что это живое. Ну, карпаччо сегодня ты кушаешь сырым. Мясо.
So he wants to allow goy
Slice.
make meat
Да, он сырое.
because you can eat it raw. How? Carpaccio.
The majority, I think we learned that before.
That
The majority doesn't eat it like that.
So that's
majority of the people.
people eat carpaccio.
He says a lot of people eat it.
800.
I found.
I think 800,000 people eat.
No, more.
No, we spoke about there were 15 million in America testified that they eat raw meat. 15 million.
It doesn't go by area.
No.
So what area means? New York, America. It's in America. The GPT says in America, 15 million.
Факт в том, что уже кушают. The fact is that the people eating.
It's not one that wanna eat it.
If people eating that raw
15 million people
goy can cook
Is what?
eating raw meat. Mamash raw meat.
According to that opinion.
So he's asking why you not let a goy cook it. Not Shabbat, regular day, shashlik. Let the goy do the shashlik. Why I need to make this mashgiach all the time, put it on the fire, bishul
Not only
Israel?
this one, on the Yom Tov you can allow to give the goy the meat also.
Why?
Well, we said that you cannot allow to give the on Yom Tov if you're doing yourself and the guy coming, he's not Shomer Shabbat, you're
No.
not allowed to cook for him.
Nachon. So how is the carpaccio going to help you?
This is meat. You
You can give him carpaccio, but not shashlik.
You're not allowed to give him
The cooked meat you cannot give him.
Not cooked meat, I'm saying
The carpaccio.
carpaccio.
Give him carpaccio. You cannot cook for him. Okay, back to us. Number 3. So we said, should one be more stringent with extinguishing the fire because a person is concerned about their property, about his property, about their property? Is it proper English? Because a person is concerned about
their property.
their property. That's how you speak.
Or you could say his property.
What are you trying to
Because you're saying singular, a person is concerned about
Their property.
their property, his own property. Theirs.
Because it's not his.
person is
His
concerned about-
his is like you're singling out his and her. So I guess you could say their kilu hem. Yani, אתה לא יודע אם זה-
Okay, it's English proper.
כן, כן.
And might violate the Shabbat laws further to save their. So then I have to say their property. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
So for the sake of who? Just saving a life?
No, property. I told you I had a friend. He got married. He had, I don't remember, 2 or 3 kids. Or just got married, I don't remember. In upstate New York. And in upstate, the houses are very far from each other. at the place he lived. One house here, another place all the way there. It was not dangerous. And he says he goes to the shul, he comes back from the shul Friday night, the whole house is on fire. He says he managed running home, saving, I don't remember either his wife and children or just his wife, don't remember. In front of his face, he said the house is on fire. Now, what was the problem? House on fire, everything gets burned, one thing. Insurance will pay. He said he calls the balabait, it was a rental. He calls the balabait, he says, after Shabbat, the house is on fire. Went on fire. He said, what? He said, that's exactly the time I switched between insurances. The house was not covered on that day. No coverage. Yo.
Nobody has to know.
I know. You can.
Some not so good.
No, but I think
Sorry, I'm in real estate. I know that.
how do you call these guys? The FDNBI? How do you call these guys? No.
FDNY.
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 But FDNY is not in upstate.
No?
That's New York City Fire Department.
Yeah. So I don't know. Probably. Karochi, bottom line, the insurance didn't pay them $1. But this guy had to go door to door collecting tzedakah.
But that's also dangerous because
the
you
situation
could catch.
will be only in two options, and the two options linked to each other. Number one,
Shabbat candles.
He rented nothing to do with that. He rented without
Go,
letting
call
the
conference call.
insurance company know about it. Because
So
when
there-
you rent your property, you need to let the insurance company know about it. And the rental person does not have a rental insurance on the house.
For sure.
You understand?
He doesn't have no insurance rental.
Again,
That's the reason why.
the rental guy need to have insurance,
לא היה לו.
and the owner need to notify his insurance.
לא היה.
היה, הוא לא הודיע להם, אין מצב שלא היה.
They didn't.
I don't know.
they
I'm
didn't
telling
do
you,
that.
1 second. So
this story is about 20 years ago.
that's also
Maybe-
dangerous.
He has no mortgage, the owner.
Mortgage? Oh, I don't know. I don't know the story. I just remember bottom
You
line
cannot have a
that
mortgage without insurance.
I don't know.
Okay,
But-
1 second.
So
So
I'm
what
telling
if
you, the situation
what if right
was-
now the
He
fire
might
is
not
gonna
have
catch
mortgage.
on the
That's
trees and the trees is
almost
gonna
said
transfer to the next
about
house?
20 years ago.
He says there was no danger. In front of his face, it says, Halacha says it's not
So
allowed.
he didn't care because it's not his house either.
Insurance,
I don't know why he didn't. No, he said Halacha doesn't allow.
bit too crazy.
He let the house
Also,
go.
it's not about touching he's not burning it because it's not his house.
Why? He has his stuff inside.
Okay. What if he has
okay.
Siddur? He can go for the sake of Siddur and call the fire
Yeah,
department.
he didn't know this.
Million or
Next
Yeah,
time.
he didn't
value
know.
of the
Next
house, but at least half of the value. Something happened, you have insurance. You can claim. Not just fire, even water damage.
Okay.
What if he doesn't have mortgage and he was already paid out?
Okay, but you're
Stringent?
still gonna keep a mortgage on insurance for the purposes of something
Are
else.
Are you supposed to be more mahmir?
Changing the insurance.
He was changing.
Different policy.
Stringent. Mahmir.
Stringent.
On the contrary, with extinguishing the fire, we should rule more strictly, because a person is in a hurry concerning their property. Yet it was permitted. How much more so in other cases, gerama is permitted. Means why Chazal said, if chas v'shalom there is a fire, you're allowed to put buckets around and cause grama. So maybe just on this case, whenever there's a fire, there's a loss, like Ashkenazim say. What's Sfaradi's answer against the Ashkenazi approach for the Gemara? It says, afuch, on the contrary, just the Gemara gave you the case of the fire to tell you that even whenever there is a fire, that we usually don't allow a person to turn it off because we're afraid that he's going to go and do more violations of Torah in order to save his property because he's worried about his property. He's not going to say, "Hi, let it go." He's worried about it. Where is he going to sleep tonight? Where is he going? His kid, he's going to sleep somewhere in the car. Where is the kid's going to sleep? Where is the wife going to be? What's going to? Oh, balagan. My relative went through this. Hashem Yerachem. His whole fire burned down. Also, insurance didn't pay nothing. For a year, almost he lives in a one-bedroom apartment with 5 kids. From a house, overnight you have to go sleep in one-bedroom apartment. Imagine what it is. 1 year like this, suffering. Hashem Yerachem was terrible, and his wife was pregnant.
Oh my God.
It was not a simple thing at all. Big tikkun. And insurance didn't pay $1. You believe that?
I do.
How much?
I don't know. There are ways around this thing. I don't know. So now, So Gemara says, when a person is worried about his property, he's going to do everything to save it.
Right.
So that's what Chazal said, don't touch the fire. You don't touch it. You let it go. I told you again, not in Queens, not in Brooklyn. I'm talking about in not inhabited places. Somewhere. Huh?
So long story short, don't move out. Stay in sin.
Huh?
Safer.
Yeah. So that's why Chazal said, even in the fire case, grama will be allowed. But in other cases, reheating soup on Shabbat, how much more so grama will be allowed? The Gemara gave you the biggest chidush possible. So don't be an Ashkenaz and say, oh, you see, only in such a case Gemara allowed. No! Even in such a case, the Gemara
It's the
allowed.
most strict case. So
Right. So even in a strict case like that,
that's still that's a machloket.
and we still allowed it. No, mechloket.
No, the soup is machloket. Maybe it's allowed.
So, but whenever there is no fire burning anything, there is no concern. The person, oh, I'm going to break more Shabbat because I need to save it. No, you're going to just put the soup on the plata and make the plata turn on a few minutes after. Grama is going to be, and that's it. So don't question the Sephardi leniency. How do you guys allow reheating soup on a plata based on grama? Grama said only in the case of fire. So opposite. Even in the case of fire, we allowed it. Levanta?
Case of fire is lechatchila you're breaking Shabbat Doraita. So if that's allowed, how much more so soup?
By not bring Shabbat Doraita. Turn off the fire. It's the Rabbanan.
I know.
No.
Turning off fire
Turning off fire.
is
It's not Doraita. It's the Rabbanan.
Oh, really?
That's what we said. If a person walks on Shabbat and he sees a cigarette is on, somebody threw it like this, or coals, shashlik somebody did on Friday night, they will not flip the mangal and left. And it's still on. You're coming Shabbat morning to Kaneso, let's say early morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock, you're coming next minyan, you're walking, you see, wow, this is dangerous. People can get harmed.
Not by cigarette.
Some paper can fly on it, some magazines fly on the street, can go on it and causes fire. What do you do on Shabbat? Says Allah, you take water and you turn it off.
Wow.
Mandatory. You must do it. I'm turning off a fire on Shabbat. There's no people around. There is no life risk. It could be
Only because it's
a harm. And why? Because turning off a fire, it's not by Torah restricted. It's only restricted with the Rabbanan.
That's why it's allowed. You allow it for the sake of saving your sidur, or because it's easier. It's like already.
Exactly, yeah. Okay? So therefore, Sephardim do have an answer to the Ashkenazim, saying, oh, how do we allow the Grama if in a case there was not fire? Gemara only spoke about fire. We say Gemara spoke even in a case of fire. But the case of the fire is very strict in Hal Chachamim Zayit, and still we allowed. Gemara allowed Grama. How much more so in the case of reheating soup, which is much, much lower problem. We will allow to reheat the soup. Based on Grama, remember, based on Grama. Means to say, I'm putting it on a plata when the plata is off.
Oh.
It's going to turn on in a few minutes from now. Got it? Very good. Number 4. Can a Kohen immerse in a mikveh, ritual bath, with the name of Hashem written on his body?
Tattoo?
Not tattoo. At ink. With ink.
Same thing. Ink is it?
Oh, tattoo is not going to get erased in the water. Ink will erase in the water.
So with pen,
Ink. Whatever, ink that is going to get diluted in the water. Now, Gemara says there was one guy, Kohen, whatever reason he did, he wrote God's name, Yud, Ke, Vav, Ke. Not tattoo.
permanent or temporary.
Whatever, yeah. Ink.
Tattoo is also ink.
No,
he means
tattoo
like
is
with a pen.
in a pen or ink. Like, the ink they write Sefer Torah with. Now, this guy said, what did I do? Write Hashem's name. I have to right now go to mikveh. I'm a Kohen. I have to go serve at HaMikdash. Now, Yaakov, what's the problem? If he's going to go into a mikveh, Hashem's name, Yud Ke Vav Ke, is going to get erased. And you're not allowed to erase Hashem's name. Bechor? מה קרה? הביט ג'לם בזן.
אבל יש פה בר מצווה גשת בפנים.
אני חושב מותר לו.
בכור, you said ברכות התורה? מה? ברכות התורה. שואתה. Welcome to Judaism. אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על דברי תורה והערבנה, вы сказали? Вы где спали?
It's in the morning.
No, when you sleep, you fell asleep.
Properly in the couch you sleep.
During the
You
day.
always sleep on this divanchiki?
Wait, during the day also you have to save.
No,
it,
I'm
huh?
asking you because if it's a bed, it's a kakravat lavas.
Ну это диван, мы там сидим, телевизор, я знаю.
Телевизor.
Телевизора.
Ah, Dovetora.
5 лет уже.
You don't have cable.
Штует, ни один штует не смотрю. Только телевизора.
Русский канал, артеар, партеар. До свидания, сюда.
Дети приходят, мультфильмы, мультфильмы
Какие мультфильмы бехот?
еврейские.
Еврейский. Very good, bechot.
Wait,
Kol
so
hakavod.
during the day.
So if you sleep over there on night time, if it's like a bed, extra bed in the house, then you have to say Birkot Torah when you wake up, even at night. If you sleep over there during the day, you don't say Birkot Torah because it's during the day.
In the night,
But if it's a place that it's not meant for sleep, you just fell asleep,
yeah.
then you don't say Birkot Torah when you wake up, even at night time. Fami did. Very good. So you don't need to say Birkot Torah.
Мне
Sometimes-
сегодня не ответили на вопрос.
Я ответил.
30 дней.
Я вам ответил. Послушайте ваш WhatsApp, пожалуйста. Я вам записал.
А скажите, ну,
So if I'm doing a Hatzala night shift, I fall asleep inside the ambulance.
Ambulance is not a bed to
I
sleep
know,
at.
so then I go to shul. Because Shachar. But then
When do you go to shul? At what time?
Nets.
Yeah,
Do I do Netanel Yodayim with bracha?
no.
Because I didn't sleep in my bed at night, but I slept in
Right.
the
It
ambulance.
has to be in your bed. You're sleeping on bed, not in your bed. He slept on a couch. Couch in his house, not a place for sleep. It's a place for rest. Sit down, and sometimes the person falls
So we
asleep.
don't say Netanel Yodayim with bracha.
You don't, because you didn't sleep at night on bed,
Even only half an hour, like whatever.
even 1 minute.
Mm.
If you slept 1 minute at night on bed, you will do Netilat Yadayim with
Sleep
bracha.
as in fall asleep, not you close your eyes.
Yeah. Fall asleep. Okay, so now back to us. The guy Bechor as a Kohen wrote over here Yud Kei Vav Kei, or somebody wrote, doesn't matter. Now he wants to go to mikveh. He has to go deep in order to go insert Bet HaMikdash. But he says, Rabbi, if I go inside the mikveh, God's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, it's going to get erased. If it's going to get erased, Hashem Erachem is going to be erasing Hashem's
Okay,
name.
because that's not meant to be, it's meant to be temporary.
So says Rav Ovadia,
So you write on the snow, it's gonna go away.
the Keren Orah seeks to demonstrate that all forms of grama, indirect actions, are generally permitted. This is supported by the Masechet Shabbat 120b, where a challenge arises based on the rabbis and Rabbi Yossi, who permitted grama extinguishing. The Mishnah states that a Kohen with Hashem's name written on his body with a washable ink may not wash it off to avoid violating the biblical prohibition against erasing God's name. But he may immerse in a mikveh to go to the shower and shower his body.
because
He's
Garama is
not
gonna
allowed
go
to.
away.
But if you're gonna go to the mikveh,
No, he's gonna go to shower, he's gonna go away, but mikveh, it's okay.
right? If you're gonna go to the mikveh by wrapping something over it and immersing, no problem. Initially, one might interpret this allowance as avoiding the indirect erasure of Hashem's name, implying that the rabbis generally prohibited Gemara erasure. However, the Gemara challenges this by noting that the rabbis permitted Gemara extinguishing, which suggested they likely permit Gemara in other contexts as well. Otherwise, the question itself would not arise. This reasoning could pose a contradiction to the view of Rabbi Yoel, the Ashkenazim, who maintains a stricter stance on Gerama and allowed it only in the case of a loss.
Okay, so what, bottom line?
Huh? So Gemara says like this, a story. Listen up to the story. The guy has, Kohen wrote over here Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? With washable ink. Gemara says to shower is not allowed to. But to put a cover, a leaf, Gemara says, put a cover on it, on the God's name, and go inside the water, That will be allowed, right? Gemara says, why do you need a cover? Didn't you tell us that grama is allowed? Putting buckets around, it's allowed. So over here, when you go inside the water is not going to erase God's name right away. It's going to take a few seconds until it's going to get diluted, the ink, and then it's going to get washed. So the Gemara says, put a leaf to cover God's name. Why? Because otherwise you're going to violate erasing God's name. I'm sorry, I'm not going to violate God's name, erasing God's name immediately. It's not happening like that. It takes time for it to erase. So it's a grama. That's the question the Gemara brought against that ruling of the Kohen. You said grama is allowed with the bucket, right?
But that's
so
Shabbat,
why?
it's not Shabbat.
Oh, that's exactly the point. Says Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, if grama was only allowed on Shabbat when there is a financial loss, why did Gemara even ask the question? Oh, how come a Kohen, he's limited, he has to put a leaf? What's the question? What is in the comparison that you're comparing the two? It's like a person is saying, listen, dean of the college, how come this guy that has a 4.0 GPA, GPT, how do you call this thing? GPA was accepted to your college, and me that I have 3.1, I was not accepted.
It's much lower level.
What's the question? How do you compare yourself to 4.0 and 3.9, 3.1? The question, it's not a comparable thing. The fact that you're asking a question means that you understand that they are comparable. So if the Gemara asked that question, it means that the Gemara understood that the laws of Shabbat causing grama with the buckets and the laws of other laws in Judaism are equal. Erasing God's name is only restricted on Shabbat or any time of the year?
Anytime.
Oh. So how did you compare this laws to this laws? Why even the questioning me question?
Exactly.
Must be the fact that the Gemara questioned. Gemara understood that the laws of grama are not only for the fire case on Shabbat. Rather, the laws of grama are widespread throughout all Jewish laws, throughout all the laws,
With other laws too.
including reheating soup.
Including eating soup.
Even though there is no financial loss. Kohen has financial loss going to the mikveh?
Oh, so they're trying to come back again for
I
this.
see what he's saying. This is how we contradict Ashkenazim.
You
That's
understand?
the answer. That's deep.
Rabbi Yosef brings a very strong proof against the Ashkenazim, saying, oh, only in the case of fire it's allowed. Why are you telling all of the Hasidim, oh, you're allowed to reheat soup on Shabbat? You're making averot, Rabbi Ovadia. Chot the Gavarim say.
How do
Rabbi Yosef
they
says,
survive with their halachot like this? That's it. They should just surrender and that's it.
Huh?
They did.
Yeah, it's already time.
You can't
Yeah,
fight,
we
you
need to
can't
resolve.
argue with this, that's it.
They surrendered.
Okay. So that's what Rabotai, remember, bottom line. Ashkenazim are strict with the laws of grama on Shabbat. They say grama only in a financial loss, like a fire case of the Gemara. Only then it's allowed, Ashkenazim. As Faradim, say no, Jonah. In any cases, grama, it's allowed. In the laws of losses, on Shabbat, or any other laws. In erasing God's name, it's grama. Also, there is no question, there is allowed to do. You understand the proof we have? Very good.
Strong proof, right?
That's our bottom line. Sfaradim are allowed to take cold soup from the fridge on Shabbat and put it on a plata that it's turned off currently. And it's going to turn on after a few seconds, minutes. Sfaradim allowed to do that. Ashkenazim will have a problem with that.
Thanks God with the Ashkenazim.
Baruch Hashem. Where is the Zohar? Zohar